Thanks, Mayor. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting of the Council and Committees of the Town of Petawawa to order for September 22nd, 2025. Welcome to members of council, staff, and all of the members of the public that have joined us here this evening. We'll start this evening's meeting off with the reading of the land acknowledgement, and this evening it is Councillor Carmen.
Thank you, Mayor Service. As we gather this evening, I would like to acknowledge on behalf of Petawawa Town Council and our community that we are meeting on the traditional territory of the Omamiwinini Algonquin people. We would like to thank the Omamiwinini people and express our respect and support for their rich history, and we are extremely grateful for their many and continued displays of friendship. We also thank all the generations of people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years, and we wish to acknowledge our shared responsibilities in responding to the Truth and Reconciliation Commission 94 calls to action. Calls to action number 69. We call upon Library and Archives Canada to 1. Fully adopt and implement the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples as related to Aboriginal people's inalienable right to know the truth about what happened and why, with regard to human rights violations committed against them in the residential schools. 2. Ensure that its record holdings related to residential schools are accessible to the public. And 3, commit more resources to its public education materials and programming on residential schools. Recent progress. Library and Archives Canada developed 2 Indigenous documentary heritage initiatives in 2017 that support the preservation and revitalization of Indigenous languages and culture in Canada. We are here, sharing stories and hear our voices. These initiatives aim for the mass digitization, preservation, description, and appropriate access of records reflecting the history and experience, languages, and cultures of First Nations, Inuit, and Métis in the collections of Library and Archives Canada.
Thank you, Councillor Carmody. Are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest on any of this evening's matters? Then we'll start things off with the Fire and Emergency Services report for the month of August. Acting Chief Crew. Are things quieting down a bit?
A little bit. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of council. So my report for September, my activity report for August starts with the chief's comments, where we issued a fire ban on August 11th for the municipality, and it was lifted on the 28th. For incidents, we had a locked door rescue on August 3rd. We had a water rescue on August 7th down at the Petawawa Point, where the compactors got caught in a current. We had 3 outdoor fires. We had one at Mones Memorial Park, which the dugout roof caught fire. We're still investigating that incident. And then we had one the same day on Victoria Street, so a grass fire just up on the hill by Summit Trail. Black Bay Road, we had a grass fire due to a truck hitting power lines. We had a motor vehicle collision on August 8th on the boulevard, with 3 vehicles. And then we had another one on August 22nd, which was a serious rollover, dealing with 2 patients. For fire alarms, we had one on Stephen, one on Mary, and one on Heritage Drive. 2 were due to cooking and 1 was due to a shower. For a bonfire complaint, we attended an Island View Drive on August 16th, and there's an unattended bonfire, which is still being investigated. For a vehicle, we had the vehicle smoking on Dorn on August 17th due to a battery, and smell of smoke twice, once on Civic Center Road on the 22nd of August and one on Black Bay Road, but both we suspect were due to fires up on the garrison. For training, our crews attended the relay pumping on the 7th, 14th, 21st, 25 personnel and 85.5 hours. For maintenance, we had some minor maintenance. 2 trucks had their annual checks. For the buildings, we had minor repairs for a door closure and the hot water tank at Station 1 and the removal of old furniture from Station 2. For fire prevention, we had 24 inspections, multiple addresses. Public relations, our team attended the Dairy Queen Miracle Treat Day on August 14th. For carbon monoxide and smoke alarm inspections, we had 16 residents checked for a total of 195 year to date. The recreational fire permits, we started with 951 and we ended up with 946. And that's my report for August.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions on the August Fire and Emergency Services report? Councillor Driscoll.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Craig, I just wanted to say I really appreciate for when we had the fire ban on, the second we got rain, we were very fast to lift the fire ban. Because I know some municipalities drag their feet on it. But I mean, you realize that our indices went low enough, and I just want to appreciate that. Thanks.
Thank you.
Further comments? Deputy Mayor Sanford.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Craig, just in regards to the fire alarm on Stephen Street, I've just never seen this before. Alarm triggered due to burnt toast in the basement. Normally we're not that specific. Was this a home that has a basement apartment or something else?
This home is one of our vulnerable occupancies. So there is some residents in the basement.
Understood. I don't know where that is. Thank you very much for that clarification.
Further questions on the report? Councillor Coutu.
Thank you very much, Craig, for everything you do. I just had a few residents come up to me in response to that Facebook watering ban saying, oh no, our fire operations compromised. I'm just wondering if you could share some reassuring words.
Yeah, so it came right after the fire ban was lifted.
Okay.
And with the maintenance on the water tower, but there's no issue. Everything's we have everything all in order.
Thank you.
Anything further on the report? Just a quick question about the water rescue. Did we activate our boat for that rescue?
We did activate our boat, but when we got on scene, the people were able to get to shore, so they were able to self-rescue before we deployed. But we had a number of them in August or end of July. We had quite a few this year. So we deployed the boat a couple times, but we didn't have to in this case.
Okay, well, it's good to hear that they made it back safely.
Yeah.
Also good to hear that we have a boat and we're using it and it's helping us to keep our residents safe. Councillor Carmen?
Thank you, Mayor Service. The water rescue jogged my memory. There was an incident at Black Bay a couple of weeks ago where somebody went out on a sea-doo in the evening and failed to return until after dark. And so the police were involved. But it never occurred to me, is that the type of thing that we would get involved in, or?
Yeah, we would get involved, but it depends on the agency calling us. I'm not aware of that incident, but I could look further and see what transpired.
Well, I'm pretty aware of the incident because I escorted the police in the middle of the night looking for this guy in my boat. But yeah, it never occurred to me that it might be the type of thing that our fire department would get involved in as well, because they were calling in their own boat, but the OPP's boat was out in Killaloe or something that was going to be a bit of a process to get it here, and so they wanted to get looking for this guy right away.
Interesting. I'll investigate that and see what
I can get
how that was activated.
I can get you a date.
Sure.
Okay, anything further? Then I need a motion to approve the report. Moved by Councillor Coutu, seconded by Deputy Mayor Sabrin, that the Fire and Emergency Services monthly activity report be accepted as information. I'll call for the vote. All in favor? It's carried. Thanks, Craig.
Thanks. Have a good evening.
You too. Next, we have the monthly activity report for recreation, culture, and tourism. Colin Coyle. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Evening, Mayor and Council. Here with the August report and asking that, recommending that council accept it for the month of August. We have the beach closing down a little bit early there at the end of August, unfortunately due to cold weather and lack of staff. That's something we try and keep going just on weekends in September, but under the circumstances, we had to make changes to that. On a positive note, moving on with that, we have been able to pull in some of our summer staff that worked for us this summer in different capacities, and we now have a bit of a pool of staff that we're now training as community recreation workers, which run some of our programs. They sort of complement Joe or run the programs on their own, so having those people there keeps Joe from working 7 nights a week, because I think he's already working about 4 nights a week, so that's nice to have the staff can either complement him or run their programs on their own. Next, the following up to last month's grant application for the Enhancing Access and Space for Everyone. The grant did go in on the 17th. I don't imagine we will hear probably until the new year on that grant, whether we're accepted or not. Again, it is for accessible bikes, just to replicate what we do at the point. So these bikes will be tandem bikes that can be ridden and shared by 2 people, or bikes that are independent that have different opportunities, whether it's hand biking, more of like a rickshaw. So this will be another opportunity to showcase not only what we offer is accessible, but to sort of show off the Algonquin Trail. So we have finalized and moved on with our arena application. It has been approved by the AGCO, so that gives us the opportunity, now that the approval is in place. Timing wise, we won't be using it as the ice goes in this week, but when the ice is out, the arena floor is now approved by the AGCO for alcohol related events. It will keep it restricted to the floor only. That will not include the stands or the benches or anywhere but the concrete slab. With our second section, you can see we've continued our programs. We've released our fall and winter guide, so we've got new programs starting in August. As you can see, a variety of children, adults, active, and as per usual in this location, a very active program opportunities for the seniors that use this facility. As far as events for August, I'll get into that next. But we had another successful water and dirt just going into our 3rd year. With rental activity for August, we are shaping down a little bit with baseball and soccer and other activities coming down. You can see the numbers for fall dropping below 100 hours. This is pretty normal for this time of year, as most of the clubs are starting to shut down and prep for winter. But as I said, we are shifting over into the ice. So the ice is going in this week and should be ready in the next week or so as they start to paint the lines on the surface and everything. So we're moving forward with a new season. And then coming up, we've got the Petawawa Ramble. The section that Recreation is looking after is the Folk and Forks event, the Petals, Pints and Pastries event, which is also new this year, and Farm to Trail. Just to make note, the Petals, Pints and Pastries event that is new is already sold out as of today. So that's sort of a good sign that coming up with new ideas is well welcomed in this community. And then next month, I will be heading off as a partnership with Laurentian Valley and the Jamie from Petawawa Quality Inn to be at the Toronto International ATV Snowmobile and Power Sports Show, as we continue, as I previously said, to move forward as trying to make Petawawa a destination for those activities, to bring more people to use the Algonquin Trail and use it as a first stop to do like the rapid tour or to start their adventures on Black Bay or any of those areas. And I believe that's my report for August.
Okay, thanks, Colin. Questions on the report? Deputy Mayor Simon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a comment. Wonderful to see how Water and Dirt has expanded, and now 6 municipalities are working towards this, I'm going to call it county-wide event. So well done. I was unfortunately away that weekend on holidays. However, I've heard from many people that it was absolutely wonderful. So, and I think you had really excellent weather. The other thing, if you don't mind, Colin, under the up and coming, if you wouldn't mind just taking a moment to talk about our National Seniors Day event, please.
I was going to leave that to someone, but so this is a new event that is being run under the Seniors Advisory Committee. It will be next Wednesday, which is October 1st. 21st. So it's a full day of session. So our seniors will have a chance to pick between classes on dementia or reflexology, sessions that include wills and estates, so that they can pick and choose what best fits them. This is a fully sponsored event by Petawawa Rotary Club as well as Petawawa Civitan Club, to make sure that this is a free event. So not only are they getting information and knowledge sharing, it's an opportunity for seniors to meet new people, meet some booth vendors that'll have information for them, as well as a free lunch. And I believe we're capping out at about 100 seats. And I think as of this morning, we're sitting at about 64 off the top of my head. So I imagine in much fashion to everything else, we'll get those last 40 odd seats in the next couple of days. So this is a new initiative that I think is also being accepted well into the community. I've registered a lot of people myself. So I think it's going to be a great opportunity, and I think it'll be an ongoing one for the next couple of years.
If you would mind just giving them the Eventbrite, just in case we've got people watching so that they can get
Yes.
right to it.
So if anyone that's watching or anyone in the audience that's interested, if you visit Eventbrite, Bright spelled BRITE, .ca, and you go into the search and check Petawawa, numerous Petawawa events will show up, and it's under the National Seniors Day, and you can register for free for that event.
Thank you so much.
Excellent. Further questions on the report? I just have a quick question for you. I thought you were mentioning earlier about your summer employees and doing cross training so that they could work anywhere within the corporation. Is that?
Yeah, so that's something we're looking at and going to start moving forward with, not only now, but more into the summer. So as we start to lose students at the end of the summer, when some students are going back early, we'll be cross-training our program staff with our canteen staff, as well as any other areas that people are willing to sort of get cross-trained on, so we can make those students or potential employees sort of more capable, giving them more opportunity for hours, relying less on our full-time staff to work overtime. It's also a budget saving measure for us as well.
Yeah, great idea. And just a quick question about the pedals and pints. It's great to hear that it's sold out. Does that happen more than once throughout the day? Like, it's not just one trip, but it's...
No. So what the concept of the event is, I don't know if anyone's seen it, it's a mega bike. It holds 14 people. They'll start near Dorn and Hilda. It's a pastry and drink pairing, so they'll stop 4 times along the Algonquin Trail, finishing at the Ottawa Valley Coffee. And I believe we have 7 different timings at about 1 hour and 15 each. So that's 14 spots times 7 that's sold out. So I was expecting to have a few gaps here and there, but every spot was gone as of this morning when I looked.
Right on. Deputy Mayor Sapp.
Sorry, thank you. Follow up to the mayor. Could I put myself on a wait list in case somebody has to drop off?
Yeah, I'll encourage you to go onto Eventbrite since you're familiar with it. And if you just try and sign up there, it'll put you on a wait list.
That's great. Thank you, Colin. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Councillor Cushing.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just one last question. So we're talking about all the events. Are there farm to trail tickets left?
There are still farm to trail tickets left. We just added a few more vendors, so it's a little bit bigger than last year. And this being, I think, our 3rd year, I was never anticipating this one to grow the way it did. So we're open to 200 tickets, and I think we're about 50% sold out at the moment.
That fast. Thank you.
And I'll just put in a little plug for the Algonquin Trail Race, 3.2 kilometer kiddie run, Munchkin Run as we call it, 5 kilometer and a 10 kilometer run along the Algonquin Trail across the Petawawa River. And that you can find on race roster. So if you're into running, come on out and join us for that race. Okay, I need a motion then to accept the report. Moved by Councillor Ruth, seconded by Councillor Driscoll, that the Recreation, Culture and Tourism Monthly Activity Report be accepted as information. I'll call for the vote. All in favor? It's carried. Okay, Colin, we have REC-03-2025 Water and Dirt Festival wrap-up presentation.
So just looking for, or putting forward the recommendation that council accepts the water and dirt presentation purely as information. We have gone into our 3rd year now as a full festival. For those who remember, it started off at the Upper Ottawa River Race, probably better part of a decade ago, and has now turned into a full festival. So I'm going to go through the presentation if I can get it on. So as was said, this is a partnership that's bigger than Petawawa. I think as we move forward with a lot of things, having these partnerships, no different than the fire department works with other departments, public works works with other departments. This is the same premise. So we had a partnership between Petawawa, North Algona, Laurentian Valley, Deep River, and Whitewater. Whitewater was a new addition this year, as was the Paddler Co-op. So this has been able to give us more options. We have a lot to do here in Petawawa. Unfortunately, we don't have everything. So this is an opportunity for us to partner with people to bring even more people from the outside area into Renfrew County. So if we're able to bring people and they stay in one event, stay overnight in one of our local hotels, and then go try another event. And the concept that we put forward with that was to work together and have people staying overnight. We saw samples of it this year, which I'll get into. So on the top there, that's the various mayors and CNL, which has played a big role in our event, all together out at Forest Lee. So as I said, CNL was our major sponsor. They stepped up with a $20,000 sponsorship. So that allows us to bring in music and bring in some of the items that go along and keep the prices relatively fair for what they are so that people can participate in more than one activity. So as I said, the BORCA, or the Beachburg Off-Road Cycling Association, was a new event this year. The organizers previously that were hosted out at Forest Lee were unable to offer the event there. So the BORCA group stepped up to have a mountain bike event at their location, which is within the Renfrew County Forest. We hosted the bike park event. We've got a great resource there. So having people travel from, most of the people for this event that were in the competitive stage were from Ottawa, Montreal, Gatineau, and other areas as well. The doggy battle. This has been going on in some shape or form. It's moved around the valley. This year, I know we're still waiting for final numbers from the OSPCA, but I was told it raised about $24,000 this year for our local humane society. So hats off to the community for raising $24,000 for a smaller shelter of that size. Is hats off to the community for really reaching into their pockets for that and fundraising quite a bit. This was also a new event this year. So this started as interest of seeing our first motorized activity come to Water and Dirt. We had over 60 participants. We started at the Civic Center, drove the B Trail, the Algonquin Trail to the B Trail, stopped for ice cream at Algonquin Portage, and then back here for dinner and entertainment. So for first year, getting 64 machines out, that was a really great start. And we had people from all over. It wasn't just our local RCATV, who that club did, support it well, led the activity, and but we had people come in from all over the place for this event. So this is another indicator that people are looking for these types of activities to do. Deep River hosted the open water swim. It was great to see that event come back. It was something that took place years and years ago, and through Water and Dirt, they've been able to revive them. Beach volleyball. So this year, a kids or a youth portion was added to it on the Friday evening, sold out, and both of the divisions for the Saturday were sold out. And this was hosted right here at the Civic Center properties. The triathlon, great event, started out in Black Bay. There's a corner swim there. You can see up ahead in the photo, from the boat launch out to a neighboring, one of our neighbors in Black Bay that allows us to use this property. Stage off there, great roads in that back area that are winding, and great, well received. So again, people coming from all over in the area to partake in this. A locally taken care of business, Beyond the Mat, oversees this entire event, so we're able to support the local businesses and basically use their expertise to offer a program for them as well. This was also another new partnership. Hughley's Blueberry Ranch ran a kids race, so very much what you're seeing in that photo. There was climbing over hay bales, climbing through tubes, over cargo mats, through Ryjays, who was a sponsor, had 3 or 4 of those obstacle courses. 150 spots, and they were sold out. So 3 different age groups for the kids division, and it sold out. I probably could have run that twice. And it was a great partnership with Laurentian Valley. We helped out this year in the premise that myself and staff can step away from it this coming year, and Laurentian Valley can do it on their own. So this is sort of a knowledge sharing opportunity where we can help them out, and then they take it from there. This was another new partnership from this year, the Paddler Co-op. They ran a whitewater sampler. So you got a chance to canoe or kayak or pack raft. So it's sort of an entry level to whitewater. So that's something that, unfortunately, the water levels were really low this year on the whitewater. So having a group like that can take that and keep going with it was great to see. North Algona Wilberforce, they had a canoe regatta. So sort of a throwback to the 80s and 90s where you decorated your boats. They went for a paddle. They had a really good turnout, and this was some of the photos that came back from it. Kayak fishing down at the point. Another great event run by a group called the Kayak Bass Anglers group. So they come in, basically help us run everything, take the registration, monitor it all themselves. So it's bringing in the expertise. I am not an expert fisherman by any means, so having someone do that for us has been a great opportunity, and brought in people primarily from outside the area to fish the Ottawa. And then the paddle race, that's what started it all off. This is a sort of our bread and butter photo, and that gives you an idea of what that event looks like. So this is from Race Roster, what we use for our registration. So I take in that the Nova Scotia and Calgary might just be that's where their phone numbers came from. But you can see there's a heavy red area there. That's Toronto, Montreal, Sault Ste. Marie. So those lit up areas are where people are coming in from. So we've seen in the past some of our registrations coming in from the States, but you can see that our tourism is a high factor in some of these events. The adventure ride. So coming from the ATV event that I talked about last year that I'm going to next month, you can see down in Mississauga, there was people that drove up for it. This is one of our success stories. This group came up, this husband and wife, they came down for the ATV event. They loved the area so much, they stayed for an entire week. They extended their stay with Jamie at the Quality Inn. They took part in some of our programs and went paddling with one of our programs with Shalon and Ellie to go, explore the Ottawa River, went over to shipwrecks, stayed a couple more days, explored our trails more. So that's, as far as economic spinoff, like we can't ask for much better than that. So you can see from the indicated areas, we did have quite a few people coming from various areas to come up for a first year event. And then again, the bike park event. So as far away as just outside Montreal, Ottawa, Gatineau, and then the Ottawa Valley. So with 20 plus supporting businesses, as you can see listed there, the supporting organizations that we're able to help through here, including the SPCA, the ATV Club, Borca, or the Paddler Co-op. And with 35% tourism, tourists coming into this with over 1,000 participants, we saw the increased overnight stays. We have new interest already for 2026. And seeing first year events like the kids race or the whitewater event be successful, their first year out was a huge success. So I'm proud of the staff, I'm proud of the volunteers, the businesses, the support. Like going into only 3 years of this it's humbling to see the community come out and support this. And we've received great feedback from the hotels and the extended stays, visitors going into their stores with their water and dirt shirts on. Signing up for programs, as mentioned, some of the feedback was people love the food, the event, the awesome experience, affordable for what you receive. People are already excited about next year. We did receive recommendations to adjust the triathlon route. I've already talked to the organizers, and it's something we're looking at. And then one of the biggest components, the kids had so much fun. Many of our components and races, like the river race, anyone 12 and under is free. So we want to sort of build on the future of this event. And not last but least, or last, but there is an opportunity for the mayors and staff to participate together in events. And just to sort of close off the event, as Shannon wanted to mention, she did win that race against Gary. So just by a bit, but a win is a win. So again, as I said before, just a huge thank you to all the groups that were involved, the other municipalities, the staff, the volunteers. It was another success, and we are looking forward and already starting to plan for 2026. Thank you.
Well, congratulations, Colin, to you and all of your team, and a big shout out to all the supporting organizations, especially all of the sponsors that contributed, and a big shout out to CNL. That's a huge sponsorship, and it really helps make the event as big as it is. But it's great to see all these new events doing so well, and the participation from all our neighboring municipalities as well. So fantastic work. I know this was one of your passion projects many years ago that you started it, and look what it's grown into. I will say I did feel like quitting after the 10-kilometer mark when there was 20 kilometers to go, but Shallon threw down the challenge, so there's no way I was going to quit. And the odd time I would start talking to her and she would say, "You're still behind me?" But she did outsprint me at the finish. Yeah, so
Very good.
good for Shallon. Okay, questions on the report? Deputy Mayor Simon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Colin, really wonderful to see all the events for children to participate, because it really does mean that this is an event for families, and that's tremendous. I'm really pleased that you're so proud of your staff, but I'm also very proud of you, because this germinated from you, and look at it now, and it's got a bright, bright future ahead. So thanks so much.
Councillor Kerman.
Thank you, Mayor Service. Yeah, congratulations, Colin. Very well run event. Very well received. Everybody you speak to is happy about this event. And the fact that it's multi-municipality and Petawawa led is great. Like, that speaks volumes for your leadership abilities in that department. And very happy that it continues to grow. So best of luck with next year's version.
Councillor Coutu.
Thank you. Just to say, we have such amazing water features and we have such amazing trails. So it's fantastic that you found the genius and the inspiration to put those together in this way. But I love what I see as far as the exposure for Petawawa itself, for Petawawa businesses, and letting that brand out and letting people know this is where you can come to play and play for over a week. So that's really great to get such a fulsome report, because I didn't make it out to every event, but I did make it out to the doggy paddle. And that number doesn't surprise me, because just the vibe there, was supportive. So amazing. Thank you. Can't wait to do more next year.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Colin, thank you for the presentation and great work. And I remember when you first presented this to council years ago, and it was just a dream, and dreams coming true. So good work, and congratulations to your whole team. I know it takes a lot of people to get this rolling, and very good work.
Councillor Driscoll.
Hey, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I'll echo what everybody is saying. Like, and honestly, kudos to you for your organizational ability, because I've organized one-day events in Strasbourg, so I can only imagine so many events in so many different places, and they're not like they're all side by side by side. So very well done. Like she said, I really like that there is a kids event. It's going to be that multi-generational thing. They're going to graduate from the kids events, and someday hopefully they're racing in the other events. And it's pretty cool for families to be able to go and do events together. So yeah. Looking forward to next year as well. Thanks.
Okay, I need a motion to accept the report. Moved by Councillor Driscoll, second by Councillor Carmody, that the Water and Dirt Festival presentation be accepted as information. I'll call for the vote. All in favor? It's carried. Thanks again, Colin.
Yeah.
Okay, next we have the finance report, FIN-18-2025, the July 2025 expenditure report. Paula, it's good to have you back. Great to see you.
Thank you. It's good to be back. So for the July 2025 expenditure report, the check numbers 5,777 to 5,982, totaling $1,760,921.70 to be approved by council. Starting back in 2025, the staff has reverted back to report to the council the list of checks issued for the month. Accompanying this report is the list of checks that were issued in July 2025 as the attachment 1. Below is the highlighted summary of the checks issued. Number of vendors paid, 163. Total dollar amount of checks issued, $1,760,921.70. Average dollar value per check, $8,548.16. Total number of invoices paid, 583. Average value per invoice issued, $3,020.45. And the number of vendors that were paid over $100,000 is 6. The analysis of the vendors paid over $100,000 is as follows. Ontario Clean Water Agency, $225,320.96. That is the monthly contract payment plus the Petawawa reduction project in the amount of $6,297.41. Wade General Contracting in the amount of $204,865.60. That's for the Public Works Edition holdback release. BEI Bonashire Excavating Inc., $168,092.45. That's for the Public Works 06-2025 patching. For June progress payment, where I broke it out with the works, the water, the sewage. Then we have also in there is the PW 08-2024, the Murphy Road reconstruction payment progress of $100,745.44. Minister of Finance of Policing, $145,560.59. That's for the June policing services, and the January to March 2025 revenues were deducted off that. Laurentian Highlands, $132,723.30 for the Laurentian Highlands 2C reduction, number 5. And then we have finally Greenwood Paving for $125,552.96 for Public Works 05-2025. The sidewalks replaced in various locations, plus asphalt pulverizing of another $20,007.65. The 1 million post top 6 add up to $1,115.86, and it equates to 56.91% of the invoices paid in July. So checks have already been processed and issued. This is to ensure the council is informed of the expenses incurred in the month reported, and this will help to ensure transparent and fair, effective governance through reporting to the public and council. Do I have any questions?
Any questions on the expenditure report? Councillor Driscoll.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a quick one, Paul, and maybe you might not be able to answer it, but the Laurentian Highlands 2C reduction 5, what is that?
It's just, I don't have all the details of it, to be honest with you, the payment and exactly what the progress payments were, but that was the progress payment, the 5th one for the Laurentian Highlands. I can get the answers for you.
Okay, no, that's fine. It's part of the development then, obviously.
It is,
okay.
Yes.
Okay, perfect, thanks.
Any further questions? Deputy Mayor Sadler.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thanks for this, Paula. It certainly is important to me to have this information. And while I was going through it today, I thought there's another piece of information that I'd like to have, and maybe we can start instituting this for next year. Is we also used to get budget updates in terms of all of the departments, and we haven't had that. And I think that would also help, because whenever we're talking about money and budget expenditures, and we trust the staff and whatnot in terms of, we've still got money in the budget. I would like to do my fiduciary responsibility to just see that kind of stuff. So if we could look at that for next year, that would be helpful to me.
CAO.
Through you, Mayor, service to council, and to answer Deputy Mayor Sadler's question, yeah, we definitely intend to. We may even be able to bring a report back before the end of this year. We had some issues with our rail tech system and some of our staffing allocations for when we went to process some of the pays. So that was one of the reasons why we haven't brought it back, because the numbers would have been all wonky until we got those corrected. So now that we've made those corrections, I fully intend to, if possible, bring a report back. If not the end of this year, we will start next year for sure.
Yeah, that would be great. Reports. Thanks, Colin. Even if even if it was quarterly, I think that would be very helpful for us, for me anyways. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Councillor Carmen.
Thank you, Mayor Service. Just a question about our policing bill now. I remember we went through a little bit of a surprise at the beginning of this budget cycle with a bill for policing services, which was quite a bit higher than we anticipated, and then it was rectified and lowered after that. But has there been any information about anything in that department? I have not heard anything.
We just get the typical, in accounting here, we just get the typical monthly policing revenues that are static at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any other details for it.
Same here. I have not seen yet what the anticipation cost would be next year, but I'm sure we're gonna find out soon. Yeah,
Right?
and let's hope it's not as bad as it was at the beginning of this year.
Yeah, really.
Further questions on the report? Okay, if you're comfortable, I need a motion to approve. Moved by Councillor Root, seconded by Deputy Mayor Sabrin, that check numbers 5777 to 5982 totaling $1,760,921.70 be approved by council. I'll call for the vote. All in favor? It's carried. Next, we have FIN-19-2025, the August 2025 expenditure report. Back to you, Paula.
Thank you. I'm recommending that the check number is $5,983 to $5,983 to $6,169, totaling $1,868,616.99 be approved by council. Again, starting back in 25, we have reverted back to report to the council a list of checks issued for the month of, and this is August. Accompanying this report is the list of checks that were issued in August 2025. The high-level summary of the checks issued were number of vendors paid, 150. Total dollar amount of checks issued, $1,868,616.99. Average dollar value per check is $10,211.02. The total number of invoices paid were 540. The average dollar value per invoice issued was $3,460.40, and the number of vendors that were paid over 100,000 were 3. And the analysis breaks it down to the highest is Kennedy Insurance Brokers. It's our general 2025-2026 annual renewal at $526,412.92. Then we have Ontario Clean Water Agency at $218,327.96 for the water and sewer monthly contract. And then again, we have the Minister of Finance Policing, $150,172 even for the July policing services, bringing us to $894,912.88, equating to 47.89% of the invoices paid in August. The checks have been processed and issued. This is to ensure that the council has been informed of the expenses incurred for the month, and it does align with our, to ensure transparent, fair, and effective governance through reporting to the public and council. Do I have any questions?
Questions on the August expenditure report? Okay, I guess we're done on that one. I need a motion then to approve the report. Moved by Councillor Carmody, seconded by Councillor Coutu, that check numbers 5983 to 6169 totaling $1,868,616.99 be approved by council. I'll call for the vote. All in favor? It's carried. Okay, next we have FIN-20-2025, the amended 2024 reserve and reserve fund transfers. Paula.
So the recommendation is that council approves the proposed amendments to reserve transfers from the town's reserves and reserve funds for projects approved in the budget, but not completed in the 2024, as shown in the table 1. The council approves the transfer in the amount of $13,563.25 from the fire department's capital budget to the fire department reserve fund to be used in future purchase of the accessories required to equip the new pickup truck, as an emergency response vehicle. The background of this is, as part of the budget process, council approved in the 2024 reserve and reserve fund transfers for projects that were scheduled to begin or were to be completed in the 2024 fiscal year. These projects are listed in table 1. As the projects listed were not initiated nor completed, in 2024, the original approved transfers from the reserves and the reserve funds to finance these projects are no longer required. Moreover, the 2024 budget included $85,000 for purchase of a 3/4 ton pickup truck for the fire department. In July of 2024, the council awarded the tender FD02 2024 for the purchase of one 2024 4-wheel drive 3/4 ton pickup truck for the fire department in the amount of $70,000 plus HST. Due to the tender being received under budget, the fire department is requesting that the unspent funds of $13,563.25 be transferred to the fire department reserve fund for the future purchase of the vehicle accessories necessary to equip the new pickup truck for its use as emergency response vehicle. As the town does not have any formal policy allowing the delegated authority with respect to reserves and reserve fund transfers, each time a transfer to and from the reserve funds needs to be completed, a specific resolution required to be passed by council. So the discussion analysis has listed as part of the budget process, council approved 2024 reserve funds to transfer from the reserve to the reserve funds for projects within 2024 budget. As some projects were not completed nor started in 2024, the staff is recommending the following. The reserve fund, Parks Reserve Fund, the amount in the budget was $30,000. Proposed final amount was $0. And the comments, it was towards the Norman Banky Hall ramp. The Parks Reserve was, the 2024 budgeted amount was $10,000. Proposed final amount is $0. Hydro Corridor Trail was what that was regarding. The Economic Development Industrial Reserve of $45,000. Proposed final amount was $0. And that was to do with the DAP study. The Special Projects Reserve, the 2024 budget was for $220,000. The proposed final amount was $0, and that was for fire hall design. The Special Projects Reserve, again, was $185,000, and $0 was proposed final amount was $0. This was for land purchase. And the Economic Development Industrial Reserve, the 2024 budgeted amount was $50,000, proposed final amount was $0. And this was to do with the tree removal in Industrial Park for a new road. And there's a note that this transfer in 2024 budget brought forward for approval on the staff report PW 28 2024. So the 2024 budget amount of $540,000 and there was $0 used. So the transfer of the remaining capital funds regarding the fire pickup truck to purchase the fire pickup truck to the fire department reserves. At the council meeting on July 22nd, 2024, council awarded the tender FD02 2024 for one 2024 4-wheel drive 3/4 ton pickup truck for the fire department. As the tender amount was received under budget, the fire department was requesting that the remaining funds from the purchase be transferred back to the fire department reserve for use in 2025 for the installation of emergency response vehicle accessories. So the table 2 indicates that the reserve fund is the fire department reserve fund. 2024 budgeted amount was $0. Proposed final amount was $13,563.25, and it's to transfer the unspent funds into 2024 for vehicle add-ons. The financial implication, this report is requesting council's approval is an audit requirement. There is no financial implication for the amended 2024 reserve transfers, and the transfer of unspent capital funds of $13,563.25 will reduce the need of the future year's budget to complete the required vehicle add-ons. Any questions?
Okay, questions on the report? Okay, you must have done a good job of explaining that. So if everybody's comfortable, you heard Paula read the motion. If you're comfortable, I need a mover in a second. Moved by Councillor Roos, seconded by Councillor Driscoll. The council approves the proposed amendments to reserve transfers from the town's reserves and reserve funds for projects approved in the budget but not completed in 2024, as shown in Table 1 of Staff Report FIN-20-2025, and that council approves a transfer in the amount of $13,563.25 from the fire department's capital budget to the fire department reserve fund to be used for the future purchase of accessories required to equip the new pickup truck as an emergency response vehicle. I'll call for the vote. All in favor? It's carried.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Paula. The much anticipated PL-29-2025 backyard chicken report from the Planning and Development Department. Melanie, you're up and you brought back up again. It's always good to have backup.
Always good to have backup.
And I understand this is Raj's maiden voyage.
This
at
is
council.
Raj's first time coming to council, so we're happy to have Raj here. I'm happy to have a wing in that.
Thank you.
No pun intended. So recommendation out of our report tonight is, first, we just want council's feedback on the revised bylaw that we included as attachment 2. And if council is satisfied with that bylaw, then the second recommendation is for council to direct us to proceed with the zoning amendment that accompanies the revised bylaw. So before we get into it, just a little bit of background. Earlier this year, council asked us to have a look at our existing chicken provisions to see if we could open it up so that everybody in town could have chickens, not just people on well and septic. So back in June, we came before council with a first draft bylaw. Council provided feedback to us on that bylaw. A lot of the feedback was related to how will we enforce this? What is the process going to look like? What's the system for licensing? What if there's non-compliance, repeated non-compliance? How is staff going to manage enforcement? So we've looked into all of those areas. We've made some revisions to the bylaw as included in the report. We also updated the proposed draft zoning bylaw amendment. So just to refresh, in our zoning bylaw, we have to take out the current provisions. Put in, we're proposing just a couple new provisions referring to the standalone bylaw. Just so people are aware that there is a standalone bylaw about chickens. So that's what the zoning amendment is for. So the standalone bylaw and the zoning amendment go hand in hand. Attachment 4 of your report is a markup of the changes that we've made since the June report, just so those stand out and are evident to you. And now I'm going to hand it over to Raj to go through the key changes that we've made in the bylaw.
Thank you, Melanie. I'll take it from here. As Melanie mentioned, based on the feedback from the last meeting, we have revised our draft chicken bylaw. So I'll start with the application process. It's some more clarity how application can be processed, who process. So residents submit a completed backyard chicken license application form with the $50 fees, $25 for the inspection and $25 for the license administration fees. And the applicant is also required to submit a sketch showing the coop and the required setback and chicken run. And then planning department or legislative service staff review the application. And then after that, building inspector perform a site inspection to make sure coop shelter comply with the building code. And then if applicant want to renew, there's a $25 for the renewal fees. There is no inspection will be required for at the time of renewal. We also have prepared a set fine schedule. Please see the attachment 5. And the set fine amounts are based on other municipality typically permit. Our set fine schedule is quite similar to town of Prior because of similar urban setting and population. Before any fine can be issued, the set fine schedule will require approval from the Chief Justice of the Ontario Court or Justice or by Region Senior Judge. Staff is seeking council's feedback on these set fine amounts. And staff also consulted with the other municipalities within the Renfrew County with regard to the enforcement. And from the feedback, the number of chicken related complaints significantly decreased. And then we also have
added a new provision to address the continuous non-compliance. The draft bylaw include a new provision that allows the town to revoke an owner's license and refuse future license renewal should 3 offenses occur within a 1-year license period. The wording of this provision allows for a case-by-case approach to each instance of continued non-compliance. Staff is seeking council's feedback on this provision, specifically the number of offenses and the 1-year time frame used for counting offenses. And some other key changes we have made in the new draft bylaw that can be seen on the attachment for the marked up version. That's with regards to the eligibility requirement. We have made some clarification that properties with the commercial and industrial use are not eligible for the backyard chicken. So backyard chicken has to be accessory to the residential dwelling. The other key change is with regards to the roosters. In the previous draft, roosters were completely prohibited in the town, but now are allowed only on farms where property zoned rule over 5 hectares. For this purpose, we also have added the definition of farm, which include the hobby farm, but exclude limited farm. The next change is to this bylaw. We also have added a new provision that chickens are not allowed at large. They must always be enclosed and secured at all times. So today, we're just looking for a general feedback and some specific feedback on a continuous violation section and some on a set fine schedule. Thank you.
Okay, I'll open it up for questions from members of council. Councilor Driscoll.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Melanie, Raj, I appreciate your work on it. I like a lot of the things that are in here. I'm glad we finally got to this point. The one thing I will touch on first is I don't agree with the registration and fines, or not fines, the registration and fees. I know I touched on this on the last meeting, but I'm bringing it back up again. People who have backyard chickens are in the idea of being self-sufficient or learning to be self-sufficient. We don't have, and then the idea of having the government have the authority to say you're allowed to have them, you're not, or you have to register with us so we know you have them. I think it's a little bit of an overreach. It's not the fine or the cost per se for me, it's the principle. We don't, and then it's also more staff time that we don't need. Staff are busy enough, we've heard them say it lots of times. So now we're gonna send our building inspectors out to inspect chicken coops for compliance, but would we do that if they have someone wants to put a dog run in their backyard to make sure it meets setbacks? No. How many, right now, you're allowed chickens in a rural setting. We know of people that have chickens where they're not supposed to. How many complaints do we see on a monthly basis in the legislative service thing? None. But how many dog complaints do we have? Lots. So, and I understand with the dog licensing fee, you have access to the dog park and there's costs that go with that. But until we have an uptick in issues, I don't think we should regulate everything. Everything does not need to be regulated. So I would say that we go at least a year, a pause on the registration. We look at what our fire, if we have an uptick in bylaw enforcement, things like that, complaints. If we do, we assess it. To just eliminate it right off the hop and tell people you have to register them, I don't agree with. And the other thing I will touch on, I don't think we'll see what this goes, but the chickens under 4 months, I don't agree with putting things in a bylaw that when I know bylaw is going to be broken. People are going to buy chicks and they're going to raise them from a hatchling. It is going to happen. If we know it's going to happen, it's one of those things. Why are we going to enforce bylaws when we're going to let law-abiding citizens be forced to break the law? And again, you can just buy ready-to-lay ones. I just know it's not going to happen. But those will be my comments for now. We'll see. But I do appreciate everything else. It looks good. I like the increase of chickens in the rural setting to 12. I think it's very fitting. But yeah, I'll go for my colleagues for after that. Thanks.
Any response before we go to more questions?
No, I would just say that in our municipal scan, I mean, municipalities having a registration process is the common path. It is more enforceable than not having anything or just some setback provisions in zoning.
Okay, maybe I'll just ask a quick question about the 4-month-old. Is this just a common practice in other municipalities that they choose 4 months? And what is the reason for not allowing people to have younger than 4 months?
Based on my research, it's very common practice among municipalities, and because it's hard to enforce, because 4 months old, 4 months old chicks, it's hard to know it's a hen or rooster. So, and it's very hard to enforce. It's very common practice among municipalities.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the 4 months of age. You're in theory supposed to be able to tell that it's a rooster, and roosters aren't allowed, so.
Okay, so what I'm hearing, there could be a mistake made. You might buy a rooster by mistake
Right.
and not find out. And then you have to get rid of the rooster.
Correct.
Okay. Councillor Driscoll?
The one thing, and I understand, I want to touch on this earlier, but that we did a scan of other municipalities and what they do, but I've heard everyone around this table talk about how we want to innovate here. So innovation doesn't mean following what everyone else does. So sometimes we have to break stride of what other municipalities are doing. Just because everyone else is doing it doesn't mean we have to do it as well. So thank you.
Councillor Root?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you both for bringing this back to council again for our opinions and thoughts. I support everything in it and the registration. I think it's important that we know who has the birds. If there is ever an outbreak or any issues with the species, we know exactly who has them, and it's compliant. But everything else, I'm totally supportive of, and I think the rates and fees are right on. Thank you.
Councillor Carmody?
Thank you, Mayor Service. Thank you for bringing this report forward. And I'll have to admit, I had to take a step back on this and kind of reorient myself. So I went back in my notes to a position I took on an issue in 2012. And I found something pretty interesting. I said at that point, I'm well aware that government has always seen fit to invade the personal rights and liberties of the individual to the point that we've almost done left. We're continually cashing in personal liberties for civil liberties at the insistence of all levels of government. We're covering society with a set of complicated rules. The rules seldom force people to act, but rather prevent them from acting in the way that they wish. Rules that extinguish introspection and stupefy people. Our personal rights and freedoms are under constant attack by well-meaning legislators, moralists, and activists. One of my favorite politicians is Thomas Jefferson, and one of his quotes that hits home with me is, "I would rather be exposed to the inconveniences attending too much liberty than to those attending too small a degree of it." What I think Jefferson was saying is that people will not always do what is best for themselves or for the chickens. But even in the cases where they don't, free choice by many individuals is a better option than the concentration of choice in the hands of a chosen few. And my position is, if people want to have chickens in their backyard, let them. And we don't need to be charging fees for it. And we don't need registration fees for chickens. I don't think so. As Councillor Driscoll points out, dogs are a far greater danger than chickens would ever hope to be. We register dogs, but that's because we have to have dog catchers, and there's a lot of associated costs with them. But I don't see the case with chickens. I mean, we have other municipalities that, don't let you have a garden on your front lawn, or, your house has to be a certain color match, and just not in favor of any of that kind of stuff. So that's my bit.
Okay. I've never heard a Thomas Jefferson chicken quote before. Or did you add the word chicken into the quote?
I had the chicken.
Just for everyone's information, my youngest child was attacked by the neighbor's chicken. The first year I moved to Petawawa, my neighbor had free-range chickens. Just throwing that out there. Did you have your hand up?
No, I did not.
Okay. Councillor Coutu.
Thank you sincerely for your work on this. I really appreciate. We were here last time talking about this. I really appreciate how you took on board what we had suggested, what our discussions had been. This draft, I think, really meets a lot of those concerns, meets a lot of those needs. For my position, I think that same as a fire pit, we try and deal with hazards by knowing where there are and making sure that they're not hazards. So we ask people not to put fire pits next to their neighbor's garage. We ask people not to put their chicken coop next to their neighbor's fence, So it's, to me, it's a small price to pay, really. And I know a lot of people will pay it because it will also give them that permit, right? So if their neighbor is complaining and they say, I'm in compliance, here we are. So we're permitting something that might be a slight nuisance. If someone doesn't like chickens, doesn't care for them. Same with dogs. Not everyone cares for dogs. We have all kinds of dogs in town, and I do agree. We get all kinds of reports about excessive barking and dogs at large and impounding dogs, but we have a process. We have a bylaw, we have fees. We have a way to make sure that this really necessary part of enjoying your life, having pets, we're creating a new type of enjoyment of your property, having chickens, but it still involves animals. So let's make sure we're managing the animals while allowing the use. And I think this finds the line for sure. I don't find it onerous. If you're building under 10 meters squared, you don't need a building permit for your coop. It's very low risk. I've seen a lot of municipalities go overboard and demand that your coop be inspected and, on and on. And this is the material it shall be made of. And that's a little excessive for me, but this finds the line between taking care of a hazard, but still expanding that use to everybody. My one concern, I'll admit, is just on the fine schedule. I'd like to see the fine for chickens at large potentially reduced. I think $200 would be a little steep for having a chicken out and about. In my view, something closer to $50 would create that deterrence, but also not penalize anyone for, chickens being chickens, et cetera. It's not going to be too big a hit. And also I was talking with Dawn earlier, and there's applied to these fines some extra fees that are related to the size of the fine. So for me, that would keep those extra fees down. So that's my one suggestion I might raise is $50 for a chicken at large. And thank you very much.
It's probably a little harder to train a chicken to stay in your yard than it is a cat and a dog. But to Councillor Coutu's point, how much is the fine for a dog or a cat at large? Is it $200?
Our bylaw is very old. It is currently $50, and on top of that is a victim surcharge fee of $10 and a court administration fee of $5 for a total payable of $65.
So victim surcharge is if somebody is bitten or harassed?
No, it's a provincial fund. It's a provincial fund where once that fee is paid, that goes to support victims of crime within Ontario.
Okay. So I guess Councillor Coutu makes a good point. If our dog and cat at large is $50, a chicken would seem to be less of a nuisance at large. Deputy Mayor Simon.
Thank you, Mayor Service. I'm okay with this as it is. I really appreciate all the work that's gone into this, all the thorough review. I must admit that I had the same query about chickens at large for the simple reason that sometimes things happen and it's real easy for things to happen. I know you're not supposed to have your dogs off leash, but sometimes the dogs get out of my house and run on the road. And that happens. If we're called back again and again for the same thing, that's a very different scenario. That is negligence in my behalf. We do have dog licenses, we do have cat licenses, and we do have expectations for people who have pets. So again, I have no problem, no issue with instituting a charge. It's a negligible charge to ensure, and Councillor Coutu put it very well, to ensure that things are done right, are done properly, that the people who have got the coops have got the backing to be able to have the coops, and I can't believe that people don't like dogs, but anyways, that being said, I know they're out there, but, they should move from Petawawa. No, just kidding, I'm a dog lover. That being said, though, I am happy with the way it is now. Thank you very much. Not really kidding.
Further questions or comments? Councillor Driscoll?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I agree with the chickens at large. And just for clarification on the point from the commissioners or the enforcement, is this going to be strictly like a chicken at large? Is that strictly enforced by complaint? Or if they're driving around and they see a chicken out on your yard, are they going to be driving into your yard to give you a fine?
Complaint basis.
So, yeah, okay. So, because I know there is people that free range them, and especially in a rural setting, there should be a differentiation between if you're in a rural setting, you don't have any neighbors, then it's not like the commissioners are going to be pulling in people's yard and enforcing.
I would say that's, since I've started at the town, that's the #1 complaint I've heard, and it's been a couple times with chickens at large.
Yeah.
I've driven around the town and there's many chickens on the road. So of all the things that we might hear about chickens, that at large, on neighbors' properties or on the road are probably one of the most common things we would hear.
But I guess in terms of having a bylaw that requires a coop and the fact that the run itself, it's called a chicken run, right? Has wire on all sides plus on the top to prevent chickens from, because chickens can fly for a short distance, but that will keep them in there and lower the opportunity for them to be at large.
It's
Okay.
also for their protection from predators, so
Yeah,
that
for
predators
sure.
can't get at them.
And we know Petawawa was a pretty, I'll call it a wild area. We're close to nature and I can hear the coyotes howling at nights at my house, and I know the odd time we'll get wolves and bears in here, and there's a lot of other predators around, ferrets, and I could go on and on. Councillor Cooper.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just to mention, so the definition of at large, if the animal's anywhere but your premises, so they could be free range on your lawn, right? And then I want to note, not under the physical control of a person responsible, so we can walk the chickens, is what you're letting me know. Okay, thank you.
I don't know if I've ever seen a chicken on a leash.
Not yet, not yet.
I'm sure it occurs somewhere. Okay, so you've got a lot of feedback to work with, I guess, so.
So I guess we need to know a few things. So on the set fine schedule itself, I mean, we've heard a couple councillors not wanting fines. We've heard some feedback that the at-large one should be less. So we need some direction on the fine.
Okay, so I've heard a couple of people say about the chicken at large, that they would like it reduced from 200 to 50. Is that the consensus here? Okay, so we're getting lots of nods there. And I think in terms of actually having a set fine schedule, are we pretty much in agreement with the fact that we need to have set fines? Good. We don't need to vote on this, right? Is nodding okay?
We'll have the direction from, that we'll bring back the draft report based on the direction that we give now.
Okay,
Yeah.
I just want to make sure we shouldn't be voting on every individual little item here. And then in terms, I know that some councillors have expressed not wanting a $25 registration or a 20, what was the second 25?
Upon initial application, it was
For the
$50,
application.
$25 for the one-time inspection and 25 annual license renewal.
Okay, so I guess let's discuss the fact that if you do want to have backyard chickens, the initial financial outlay would be $50. 25 for registration, 25 for the license for that year. Are we okay with that? Can I ask for a show of hands, or what do we do?
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Councilor Driscoll.
Thanks, Mayor. Would it be possible that we have an option when it comes to a public meeting with and without us, if we're going to pass a bylaw? Because we can listen to members of the public and what they want, because we do represent them. I know we administer the rules, but if our large majority of our chicken community don't agree with it, because it's not like we're talking about the amount of people that have dogs in town. It's not going to, the town is not going to be overrun with chickens. So if the majority of people who want them don't agree with the schedule, I think it would be prudent of us to give the people what they want. So would that be, I would have two options to come back?
Yeah, so what we plan to do with the zoning amendment is the standalone bylaw isn't part of the zoning amendment, but because we're proposing to take most of the provisions out and include them in the bylaw, we were going to include the new bylaw as part of the public meeting for the zoning amendment.
Yeah, so is
So you would
everybody-
have an opportunity if somebody brought something up at the public meeting, and then we would bring, like, we're always gonna bring these back together, the zoning amendment and the standalone bylaw. So you would have an opportunity there.
Okay, so everybody's okay with that? If we bring up a couple of options at the public meeting? Deputy Mayor Simon?
Thank you. I guess the only concern that I have, and I appreciate public input, we have 25 people that come out and they're dead set against the fines. And we assume that that's the majority of the people, whereas there's 300 people that actually go to chickens, which means that that's the minority of the people. So it's just that, I guess, taking the feedback into consideration if somebody brings it forward, I think is very important to do. So I don't have a problem with that.
And also, you're not getting the thousands of dog and cat owners who pay the $25 fine, maybe not agreeing that the chickens shouldn't happen. But it's like any public meeting, whoever comes provides the feedback, and we as members of council listen to the feedback and not necessarily make our decision based on just what we're hearing there, but on the overall communication from the community. Councillor Cookie?
Thank you, Mercers. Same, I'm interested in public feedback, but in my perspective, there's the issue of fairness where you're treating everyone who's bringing animals into the town the same way, because each animal is going to put a burden potentially on the bylaw officer, but also just the financial reality too, that this is not a revenue neutral exercise. So it's just that contribution in a sense. And to me, because we've set it so low, I think that anyone who's building a coop is going to get support as well as, you know, that clarity of how to keep their chickens or whatnot. So I'm interested in hearing what public feedback will be, but I wouldn't be surprised that people who would be asked to pay the fee would not want to. But I'm sure a large portion of them would understand why there would be a fee, given that there's going to be some oversight and potentially response if there's animals at large, et cetera. That's my comments. I'm here to hear. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have, go ahead,
I just have
Councillor
one more
Driscoll?
comment, not about this, still about this, but the 3 infraction and then the loss of a license, I think that should also be scrapped. There is a fine schedule that will force people to correct. If someone has 3 bark complaints to their dog, we don't make them get rid of their dog. So it should be the same for chickens.
So just to go back to the license for, we'll leave it as is to go forward to a public meeting. That's what I'm hearing. Okay. And then Councillor Driscoll was moving on. We did want feedback on, you know, continuous non-compliance. So some people are willing, some, probably a small number, just to pay the fines, just to keep doing what they're doing. The wording in the bylaw does say may. So it gives us that discretion where, you know, it was mentioned earlier, sometimes things happen. But if it's kind of the same people with the same complaint over and over and over, and it doesn't seem to be a deterrent, then the may language allows the town to do something.
So it's not automatic that 3 infractions automatically disqualify you from having a license. Case by case basis is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, I just want to read the exact language, just so we're.
And again, this is something else that when it's presented in a public forum, we can listen to feedback from the public on issues like that as well and take into account what we're hearing.
Right, so in section 5.5, it says following 3 violations of this bylaw within 1 annual license period, the town may take enforcement actions, including monetary penalties, refusal to renew the license, and potential revocation of the existing license. So we did say may, so that there's some discretion there.
Okay. Deputy Mayor Simon?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think Adam raises a good point, though. We don't don't make people get rid of their dogs after barking complaints. I don't believe we make people get rid of their cats when they use their neighbor's flower beds as their washroom and things like that. We just sort of keep going back. I think we need to be consistent with things like that. And if they are, as many people have said, pets, then we treat them with the same brush in that respect. So I support Adam on that.
Okay, Councillor Couture?
Thank you, Mayor Service. My curiosity is just about the animal welfare part of it, because if someone were abusing their dog, the OSPCA would get involved. If someone was abusing their cat, if they were being reported for mistreatment of animals. So I'm just worried about the chickens. If someone's not doing a good job, is doing a very poor job of taking care of their chickens, they're reported, they get a fine, but I'm not sure if anyone's going to end up taking those chickens away. I don't think that's in the OSPCA's purview. So that's, I think my one concern in keeping that in there would just be that mechanism to say, okay, you have a giant poop pile, your chickens are diseased and, in really, really rough shape, no more permit for you. So just having that, for those dire situations, because I agree, we're not going to be pulling people's permit for chickens that large because things happen, et cetera, but having that option there, I'm just wondering how people feel about that.
Councillor
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think that's the way Melanie has it worded, May. I think it covers everything. May. It's not after 3 times you're going to take it, but it'll be decided by town staff.
Councillor Driscoll?
When governments have a chance of may, it will be shall, it will be used. I think when someone gets dinged with a couple $200 or $300 fines back to back, that is going to force them to, because how long do you want to keep paying that? If that's not a nominal fee, that will add up quickly. And if you don't want to pay it, you're going to clean it up.
Deputy Mayor Simon?
Final, May also gives discretion, and my issue and Adam's issue may be very different, and I think we need to be very clear when we've got fines what exactly we're going to do with it. It shouldn't be up to a may, it should be a must, or not a must, right? So just so it's clear for all of us and we're treated fairly and the same.
Councillor Couture?
Okay, so then maybe to satisfy all of our concerns, would anyone be comfortable with the idea that if you have 3 infractions related to animal care, your license is then revoked? Just a thought.
So it's not just any general infraction, it's
Those
you
specific.
taking proper care of the chickens themselves. Councillor Driscoll?
Are our commissioners trained on chicken welfare and how?
Is our clerk's department trained like this? You're asking a very valid question.
So it comes back to, if we can't enforce it, why are we putting it in there?
Okay, so
yeah, these are just a bit of context. They're common provisions for chickens, hearing what everyone says. I think we did talk about potentially animal control officers would be responding to more care things, non-commissioners. So they would have a little more knowledge. Are they specialists in chickens? Probably not, but they are a little more trained in animal care.
is this a case of us, I know that we're going out soon with a new animal care bylaw enforcement policy and putting out a tender and asking for somebody to oversee these in our town. Is this a case where when we put the tender out, we make a point of saying, if you're going to make a bid for this contract, just to let you know, we have a chicken bylaw, and we would like your enforcement officers to have some type of background to enforce this type of thing.
This will be a component of the tender for that service that they will need to uphold and honor this bylaw if it's approved. Just like the animal control bylaw for cats and dogs, or sign bylaw, or for any of the municipal bylaw enforcement bylaws that they act upon for the town.
Yeah. Okay, is this another little section here, especially in, where we talked about the 25 and the 25 and do people want to pay? Is this another example of something where we can provide 2 options at the public meeting and say may, or it's not in there at all? Or are we
for
getting
the
too
public-
far in the weeds
Well,
here?
at the public meeting, basically would say, here's the draft bylaw that
Mhm.
council is considering. And we will include the 25 and the 25 and something, and then there can be discussion on it. And then it can be changed afterwards based on public input and what council would wish to do. But I think we should, for the public meeting, for the zoning amendment, we would put out a version of something.
So is everybody comfortable then with putting out this draft as we've amended it here this evening, listening to the public feedback, and then all of us can make our decision after hearing that feedback, rather than getting bogged down any further here? Okay,
So for the continuous offenses, then leave in 3 offenses within 1 year license period with the may language. That's what we're gonna do.
everybody okay with that? No, I'm seeing 2 nods and 1 stinky shake and 2.
See,
Go ahead.
yeah, I don't agree with it. I don't think it should be in there. It's just one more thing that we'll have to reassess later. And I understand when we talk about the welfare of the chicken and having fuel, but has anyone ever seen a picture of how chickens are raised in factories? So welfare for chicken is taken pretty low in the categorization of taking care of an animal. So it would be really hard pressed to raise a chicken worse than that. So if they are passing, then the chicken welfare threshold is quite low. So
How about, instead of, I think what we're getting hung up on here is the 3 infractions. How about we reword this and rephrase it so that it says, if there is, I don't know, multiple infractions or multiple fines incurred, or if there are concerns that somebody, I don't want to say abusing their privilege to have chickens, the town may look at further action or something like that. Just word it a little more vaguely so that we do have the opportunity that if somebody is really out of control in this, that we can take a step.
So the last draft we had said the town may revoke a license if the owner fails to comply with the provisions of this bylaw. And then we were asked about continuous violations. So that is why we've come back with this, how many violations and what kind of time period or whatever.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of context on. We started general, got a little more specific.
Any comments on that?
I think if it got to a
Councilor
point where fines don't fix the problem, it goes to a property standards issue, and then we take it through that. Because if someone has a pile of feces in the backyard that they're not cleaning up and they won't clean it up after a fine, that is a property standards issue. And then the town can take action through property standards to clean it up and bill the person. So then we don't have this 3 strike, you're out. We have the ability to address it still. And one less thing we have to have in the bylaw that we're not gonna enforce.
Councilor Kajin?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I really appreciate your point about chicken welfare. I think that's some good perspective, and I'm certainly not going to die on this hill. And very good point too. Property standards will play sweeper. So yeah, I'm happy to take it out and go from there.
There is a provincial number as well that when we were doing our research for the Hoskins farm, there's a provincial number that members of the public can call if they feel animals are being not looked after.
Are we allowed to put something like that in our bylaw? Or just that's just something we put on the town website to offer to the public? Yeah? Okay. Okay.
So I
Do you
think,
have everything you need?
I think for continuous offenses, we want that out. So
Yeah.
under license revocation, what I'm not sure is, are we taking that out completely? We're never gonna revoke someone's license.
Do we ever let a dog not have a license?
A dog owner?
Yeah.
Can a dog or a cat owner have their ability to apply for a license removed if they're have several
We
violations?
revoked their license to participate or to attend the parks for repeated offenses.
But not to own another dog or cat?
That would fall under the Dog Owners Liabilities Act. So,
There's no chicken owner's liability act? Can you write one of those up for us? Okay, so the answer to that question is, oh, go ahead.
I'm just wondering if maybe we're kind of getting a little bit more lost in the weeds. This is something that we're going to be presenting to our community who really want chickens. This is, they're probably going to do all the things that they can so that they can really have those chickens. And if there's a provincial organization that if there's a real welfare animal issue, then that's where it gets dealt with. I'm okay with that.
Okay.
So
I
we'll
guess-
we have the set fine schedule and you would just keep finding people.
Yep.
Okay.
Any other issues we haven't dealt with?
No, unless there was something else that any of you had a question about.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, so just for the motion, am I gonna say that council approves the draft backyard chicken bylaw as amended?
We wouldn't bring that forward.
We're not doing that one?
But the second recommendation,
The council directs staff to proceed with the proposed zoning bylaw amendment as presented, or as amended. Am I saying as amended?
So the first recommendation was provide comments, which we've got the comments. There's not a lot of changes to the bylaw other than removing the continuous offenses and changing the fine for at large. Those were the only two changes. So I guess my question is, recommendation number one, you provide comments. Recommendation number two, if council is satisfied with the revised bylaw, are we okay to go ahead with setting a public meeting and sending out public notice for the zoning amendment based on making those changes? I don't know how that works.
So is that a whole new motion that I have to read then? Instead of the two that are before us?
yeah, I had, that the council provided direction, and it was to remove section 5.5. And I'm sorry, Melanie, I missed the.
To remove section 5.5
Yeah.
and to change in the fine schedule, which
That's
isn't
separate
part of
from,
the bylaw.
that's not part of the bylaw anyways.
Yeah,
Is that fine schedule gets approved by the provincial court after the municipal bylaw is adopted. Okay, but we will do that $50.
So are we doing a motion that, no, not a motion, council just provided direction to remove section 5.5 of the draft bylaw?
mhm. So that satisfies number one.
And then the second motion we're gonna go ahead with, council directs staff to proceed with the proposed zoning bylaw amendment, but would I say as amended or as presented?
The zoning bylaw, there weren't any changes to the zoning bylaw other than we would need to input a bylaw number for the chicken bylaw.
Right, so attachment 3, I think, was the draft amendment, the zoning bylaw, and basically it would be to take out the existing wording in the zoning bylaw and put in the new provisions, which basically say the keeping of backyard chickens shall be permitted as an accessory use to a dwelling unit in accordance with the Town of Petawawa backyard chickens bylaw. And the second provision would just be the minimum distance separation formula may apply to the keeping of backyard chickens per provincial guidelines.
Okay,
That motion stays the same.
so it should stay the same? Okay, so just to sum up, council provided direction to remove section 5.5 of the draft bylaw, backyard chicken bylaw. And now I need a motion, if you're comfortable, that council directs staff to proceed with the proposed zoning bylaw amendment as presented. Moved by Councilor Driscoll, seconded by Councilor Coutu. I'll call for the vote. All in favor? It's carried. When I told Raj, I said, hey, it's your first time presenting a council. I said, it should be a short, easy one. Because all you're doing is talking about a couple of changes. You just never know, Raj.
And it was.
You did a good job on your first go around.
Thank you.
Okay, so you'll see us next at a public meeting on this subject.
Thank you.
Thank you, Melanie and Raj.
What is working?
Okay, next we have Public Works, PW-28-2025, Town Hall renovation, process explanation, and costing update. So just before Chris gets into his report, I'm gonna give you a little Town of Petawawa history lesson. I made some calls over the last week just to satisfy my own curiosity about Petawawa Town Hall. I guess when it was originally built, it was the village of Petawawa Town Hall. Any guesses on when it was built? 1972 is when the village of Petawawa Town Hall was built. And at that time, it had 3 garage bay doors because that was the Public Works Department. For those of you who've been around a while, you remember the fire hall was across the street and down the road, up on top of the Moens ball diamond there. And then not much was done until the late 1980s, was as hard as we could nail this one down, 87 or 88. That's when, if you're facing the town hall, the addition on the right went in, where the CAO's office is, the basement was put in, and the offices downstairs and the boardroom was put in the late 1980s. And then 1997, when the amalgamation occurred and the village joined the township, that's when they took out one of the bays and made the new main entrance to the town hall and the lobby area and some of the other offices there. That occurred in 1997. Since then, not much has happened in the way of major renovations to town hall. So it's been 28 years, I guess, since there was a major renovation to town hall. There were some little walls added here and there, but not much. So just to provide some further background on the project. So it was around 2019, 2020, when the former council and the former administration made the decision to come forward to council and ask, to put aside some money for a renovation of town hall. And the original impetus for the renovation was twofold. I guess it was an accessibility issue and a safety issue. So accessibility because there was offices downstairs, and we were asking members of the public to go downstairs to meet with staff because there wasn't a lot of meeting rooms upstairs other than the boardroom. Also a safety issue because we had 3 members of staff downstairs, and if the stairwell would have been on fire, there was really not much other means of egress to get out other than a small window. So that's what the original plans were drawn up for, was to get a couple people from downstairs to upstairs. And as we know, COVID came and plans got delayed, then an election came and the plans got delayed again, and all the while money was getting set aside and putting into a reserve account. Then an election came and we, the new council, came on board, and for our first year, there was discussions again about getting this project to move forward, but there was lots of delays. Some of it was architectural, some of it was engineering. For whatever reason, it didn't get going. And then as we know, our CAO retired. A new CAO came in and had a different vision. So plans started to get changed again, and architectural drawings had to get changed again. And there was a lot of discourse and conversation about what this corporation needed at that time. And all the while, we started to do more hiring. And 6 or 7 new people were now working in the town hall. And then the aforementioned CAO decided to move on, and now we have another CAO who has a different vision of what the city hall needed in terms of helping the corporation move forward. And all the while, the project had begun, and it was actually delayed 3 or 4 weeks, which further put pressures onto the project. So all of that is to say that it was a project with a lot of extenuating circumstances. I guess I don't even need to mention that we've had some shortfalls in our treasury department, which further exasperated the situation, led to a little less oversight than we should have had. Anyways, the project was moving forward, and the changes that were made were to accommodate not only the accessibility and the safety issue, but now the fact that we had 6 or 7 more staff. Now, I'm not making any excuses. Last Monday, council sent a very clear message about the process that was followed, and dissatisfaction was expressed, and the message was read loud and clear by myself as mayor and by staff as well. Now, I'm sitting in this chair because I'm the mayor, and I have to take responsibility for everything that happens in the town of Petawawa, because everything comes to the top. So I should have my finger on the pulse of everything that's going on. And I have to admit, I got caught up in the excitement of the renovation. And I guess I kind of dropped the ball and wasn't aware of all the things that were going on. And I take ownership of that and responsibility for that. Now, we do have a very qualified professional staff that we give a lot of leeway to and a lot of responsibility to. And that's because they are qualified and professional, and they know what they're doing. So sometimes we have to trust that their intentions are always the best intentions for the corporation and the town of Petawawa. So we have to, as council, I know that our job is oversight, and we have to make sure the taxpayers' money is being spent responsibly. But in the end, we have a very qualified professional staff, and sometimes we have to let them make some decisions for the best interests of the town. So I just thought I'd give you that little preamble before Chris comes forward with his report. So Chris, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor Service and members of council. Staff certainly appreciate the opportunity to revisit the town hall renovation and provide a more thorough process explanation. I thought I'd start with the statement. Town hall is the administrative center of our municipality. The town of Petawawa Municipal Office provides a comprehensive suite of services to our residents. These services include frontline reception, general inquiries by law enforcement, formal complaints, commissioning documents, vital statistics, tax payments and other payments, service payments, council meetings and public gatherings, and council chambers. The following departments are housed at Town Hall: legislative services, economic development, planning and development, finance, and council chambers. I appreciate the mayor's background on the Town Hall, and my 1997 was incorrect. Should have been 1987. So I apologize for that.
No, 97 is correct.
Yeah, but I think you mentioned 1987 was when the mayor's office washroom order was put in.
Yeah,
so
sorry.
I thought it was 1997. So regardless, I appreciate that. So moving past that, Town Hall currently employs 18 staff and includes a dedicated office for the mayor. Over the past 2 years, as Mayor Service mentioned, the staffing complement at Town Hall has grown. The town has added the following positions: IT systems and cloud coordinator, accounting clerk, economic development coordinator, human resources coordinator, and 2 senior planners. These 6 new staff positions were housed in existing office spaces by having 2 staff working together in an office where possible. 2 new staff were provided space in hallways, and 1 was housed in the fire department side of Town Hall. It was clear at this time that the office space at Town Hall was insufficient, and workplace efficiency and staff morale would be impacted if these conditions were to remain for an extended period of time. Should also be noted that Town Hall is not fully accessible in its current configuration. We have no accessible washroom, and also our front counter reception area does not meet current code for accessibility in its current configuration. The original design for the Town Hall renovation, I went back to 2021. It looks like it went back even further. And as Mayor Service mentioned, was delayed due to COVID-19 and along with other factors, including senior staff retirements. So in the fall of 2024, the Town Hall renovation project was tasked to Public Works to complete the project. The design that was tendered for construction in the spring of 2025 was limited to upgrades to the front lobby and the finance department areas of Town Hall. This design added 3 dedicated office spaces, an accessible washroom, new entrance vestibule lobby configuration, which focused on staff, security, and accessibility. A provisional item was added to the design just prior to tendering for 3 additional office spaces within the council chambers. This design was tendered and the cost for construction was $269,900 plus HST. A contingency of $80,970 was also included, bringing the council endorsed construction total to $350,870. Post-tendering senior staff meetings included discussions concerning the town hall renovation, and suggestions for changes and improvements were communicated, and some were issued as change orders to the project. And I think Mayor Service was correct in saying that visions changed and priorities changed as we move through this long process. So some of the changes include a full carpet replacement in council chambers along with fresh paint, new LED lighting, new ceiling tiles, and additional power and computer outlets. We also added one additional office space and was created by altering the lobby area to accommodate the originally planned meeting room for staff to meet with members of the public at the front entrance to town hall. So there are 2 dedicated office spaces. We've added another office space, which we intend to use as a meeting place for members of the public when they come in. If there's an issue that should be handled in a private setting rather than having a more wholesome discussion in the public venue, they can take it into that meeting space just off the lobby area. So it's a good addition. We also have replacement of existing carpet in the hallway between the front office and council chambers. The existing carpet is being replaced with tile that matches the front lobby reception areas. So it ties together the improvements to council chambers, the improvements to the lobby, and now improvements to the flooring to join those 2 areas together. All new office doors have been changed from wooden doors to wooden doors with glass inserts. This upgrade provides a more modern office space and provides a welcoming feel for visitors and guests who attend town hall for meetings with staff and or council. The doors are the same style that were installed at the Public Works Administration Building during the construction of the new addition in 2024-2025. The removal of the custodian closet and mayor's washroom to create a new hallway from the council chambers entrance to the boardroom. This allows for council chambers to be used as a closed meeting space with the boardroom access from the new hallway. This new hallway also provides another exit option for staff in the event of an emergency, and the hallway allows the Human Resources Coordinator to facilitate confidential meetings, sometimes of a sensitive nature, and limit the interaction between staff and the person attending the HR meetings. It should also be noted that the CEO now has direct access to the boardroom as well as the mayor. The replacement of carpet at the council chambers entrance and extending down the new hallway to the boardroom, this is also replaced with tile. A new fully accessible door along with aluminum framing is required on the entrance vestibule. The existing sliding door could not be repurposed. This change order was not anticipated. However, the new vestibule was part of the initial scope. And of course, improvements to HVAC to ensure that heating and cooling is evenly distributed throughout the new renovated office spaces. Staff has revisited all change orders to date to find savings. We have eliminated one hallway door, that is not required. We canceled the new doors to the council chambers, and we provided all the required accessible appurtenances from our existing inventories at the Civic Center for use in the new accessible washroom. Staff continues to work with our contract administration team and the general contractor to find any additional savings possible. Even with these efforts to reduce costs, the project costs are still over the May 5th council endorsed spending threshold for construction. We are, however, still within the capital budget that was set forth for this project in the 2025 budget. Public Works staff are confident that the 2025 town hall renovation will be a sound investment into improved accessibility for staff and the public, increased office space to house additional staff, promoting a healthy working environment, and most importantly, provide staff with improved security measures for a safe workplace. I wanted to also bring up the strategic plan from 2023. This renovation project aligns with the strategic plan. Under organizational capacity and modernization, the number one priority from the strategic plan is the town hall office upgrades and expansion. Under long-term goals, the number one priority is excellence in local government with modernized and efficient services and facilities. Staff are confident that our efforts to date will provide a complete town hall renovation that aligns with our strategic objectives as set forth in the 2023 strategic plan. Under financials, the approved capital budget for 2025 for the town hall renovation is $547,332. The council approved portion of this budget amount for construction from staff report PW 11/2025 at the May 5th, 2025 meeting of council was $350,870. The change orders implemented to date are valued at $138,770.22, which is $58,770.22 over the council approved contingency of $80,970. Staff is requesting council's endorsement of the additional $58,770.22 spending over the $350,870 construction amount previously approved on May 5th, 2025. This would bring the project construction costs to date up to $408,670.22. The May 5th, 2025 staff report focused on the construction portion of the budget only and did not include the costs for engineering, design, consulting, project management, and other associated costs, such as new furniture and fees for moving and storage of existing furniture, which are separate from the construction portion of the budget, but contained in the overall approved 2025 capital budget of $547,332. So I think when I brought staff report PW 26/2025 on September 8th, my attempt was to provide the whole costing, and that probably caused some confusion. And in hindsight, I should have stuck with focusing on construction for the costing, and I think it would have provided council with a little bit better insight. The project remains within the 2025 capital budget framework approved by council. We are not issuing any further changes to the project scope, and we continue to look for savings where possible. That ends my report, but I just wanted to add that I certainly appreciate the support that CEO Colin has given to me. I certainly apologize for the oversight in process, as I apologized at the last meeting of council. But I still am passionate and confident in what we are trying to do at Town Hall. And I believe in the construction as it stands, including the change orders. And I think the end result will be a wonderful facility for staff, for members of the public who come to use the Town Hall. It will provide security for staff, which was very important. That was one of the main impetuses for this project in the beginning, was improvements to staff security. And I think it will also give council a little bit of time to deal with other important issues as we come into budget. We've managed to take the existing building at capacity without knocking out any walls. And it will provide some leeway to council to focus on other priorities. And Town Hall, with this renovation, will be able to continue to serve the public for years to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris, for all your detail and all your work on this report, and for all your hard work in managing what is a pretty complicated project overall. So thanks for that. Okay, we'll open it up for council. Councillor Kerman.
Thank you, Mayor Service. Thanks for bringing this report forward, Chris. It's an awful lot of rhetoric for something that can be summarized very simply. We spent almost $59,000 that we didn't have council authority to spend. The money's spent. We can't reverse it. It's too late. So we now need council to authorize that almost $59,000. That's the end of the story. I mean, the capital budget, whether it's within capital budget or not, is irrelevant. It's really irrelevant. And I don't like it, but this is the feeling I get, is that there's just no way out of this without us authorizing that 58,000. So I'm going to do it. I'll support the expenditure of 58,000. In my 15 years on council, I've never seen it happen. And I certainly hope to never see it happen again. And Chris, my comments are not directed at you personally. They're directed at our process. Thank you.
Thanks. Councillor Driscoll.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think I covered my position on this the last meeting. The one thing else I will say is kind of like James noted, we are here. We are going to be forced to have to go ahead with this. I understand it's within budget. What gets it for me though is the contingencies are for unforeseen expenses and not things we want down the road. That is a planning issue. Things should be applied out, or it comes back for changes. And I'm sure all of these changes, they probably would have went no problem if it was originally budgeted for and in the original plan. So it's the use of the contingency for non-contingent items is an issue for me. So moving forward, I would also like things we have contingencies on. It would be nice to know how much of the contingency was spent, because when we finish a project with a contingency, I don't know how much of the contingency do we even go into or what is it even used for. And so that is all I'm going to say going forward. I am going to support it. We're going to get the $58,770. But moving forward, I just hope we don't have to do this again.
Further questions? Councillor Coutu.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a comment, I had the benefit of a tour the other day with Ted Marcotte and our CAO, and I completely agree with you, Chris, and your assessment, the staff's assessment as to what this building is going to do and how aligned it is with those strategic objectives. So bravo, and thank you. That's it.
Yep. Oh, sorry. Were you here?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor.
So before council tonight, I had the opportunity to meet with Chris and Colin. I did take a tour. I'm happy with the renovations. I like what I see. There's still some more work that will have to be budgeted through process for the things that still should be I think should be upgraded, and council will decide that in the next budget. My biggest thing, and I mentioned last time, is just the process. And it was a mistake, and we learn from our mistakes. It's 58,000 overrun. I will be supporting that we move forward, but we just have to be cautious moving forward.
Deputy Mayor Sadler.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Again, my issue last week remains the same as this week. It's process. And what I need are some reassurances as to how this is not going to happen again. That's really what I need. I have the same issues as Adam has with respect to the contingency. We don't know what the contingency was used for. I suspect they were used for some of these superfluous items that were not originally part and therefore are not contingency items. Accessibility, thank you for mentioning the accessibility part. I believe the accessibility act said when you're doing a major renovation, you've got to look at accessibility, and I wonder why that was, I'm going to say, missed a bit. Or if it was missed a bit, I'm sure we've got a really accessible washroom and things like that, and that's great. So, you know, if we address the accessibility, that's a very good thing, because that's really important for not only our staff who may have accessibility reality return to work, but any other folks who come in to use all of our to use our services and meet with staff. So I guess I just need a clarification as well. We've got a lot of figures here. So the cost of project is $408,670.22, Chris. Is that all it's going to cost us of the $547,332, or are there more costs coming forward? I just need to be sure I understand, please.
Yep, through the chair to Deputy Mayor Sabrin. So there are further costs, but they're associated to the design and contract admin. I think what council is used to is a certain process that's followed by our engineered services that we're used to dealing with. The company that we're dealing with on the town hall reno, it's more of services used as needed. They don't take all their costing and put it into the construction costs. It's a separate item. So what you're seeing in the report is the cost for construction. There will be additional costs for the design and contract admin on top.
Okay, I guess I'm used to seeing it just as you described, the
Yes.
cost of the construction, plus the admin, plus all of that. And
That's correct.
I guess that's the question is, why didn't you pick that up, right? That probably should have been picked up, because it's all part of that. And the $350,000 is now 48% more for me, even though it's still, you're saying it's still in budget. I'm thinking of that as savings, as money that we can use elsewhere, that we can, and whatnot. We don't have it, is what I'm hearing you say. It's spent on things related to the job, but just not originally what I understood to be the fulsome cost. So I hear what you're saying. So again, I feel like last week, it's an untenable position. It is, however, something that the money's been spent. I don't know where else we're going to get it. It's done. I still think the doors with the window are probably fairly expensive, and I would absolutely not agree with that. There's nothing the matter with doors. I don't care how modern it needs to look. I think we need to spend taxpayer dollars very frugally on our stuff and very wisely on the general stuff. So that's what I'll say for now. There's a motion made. Obviously, I think I will vote for it, but I'm not feeling good about having to vote for it. So thank you.
CAO, you wanted to say that?
Thank you, Mayor Service. Just to answer Deputy Mayor Sabrin's question about process and not letting it happen again, I will state that I think back in May when that first report came, I can't speak for the previous CAO, but I will state that that report was, I believe Chris was given direction to present it that way, which didn't include those administrative costs, so that council didn't get burdened down in the weeds. I will rest assured to you right now that a report like that will never happen again. If that's your answer, you want to, because I can guarantee my name going forward will not be included. We'll make sure that all costs are upfront and council's aware of it. And I'll make sure that my directors reporting to me will also know that. So if that's the only reassurance I can give you, I will give you that right now this evening.
I'd also like reassurance that subsequent CAOs will also follow.
Easy now.
If you could just make that happen,
Yeah.
I'd appreciate that. That would be
Well,
over and
hopefully there's
above.
not going to be
Thank
one for a while.
you. 15 years, 20 years.
I'll take that.
Thank you.
Any further comments?
Just one more
Councillor
point.
Driscoll.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. One more point of clarification. So the 408, so how much is the contract administration and the design work on top of the
We'll still be
408?
In Chris's previous report, we estimated construction administration was $80,000.
So it's gonna be like 488,000 by the time all said.
still under the
Yeah.
initial five.
Okay, 47. Okay, thank you.
If I could just add that part of the philosophy or the thinking process as we went through this renovation project was that, the offices were added in the original design, but then when it was decided, they're new offices, they're gonna have new carpet, new paint. It would look pretty funny having 50-year-old carpet right next to brand new carpet. So part of the philosophy was if this were to happen now, it would cost a lot less than if we waited till next year and said, okay, now we're gonna come in and try and match this carpet and do it all over again. So while we had the company there, while the designers were there, these small changes, the philosophy was that it would save us money in the future if we could get it done now instead of going out to reach in. Just thought I'd throw that out there. But again, I've heard council's message again, loud and clear. As mayor, I hear it. Staff has heard it loud and clear, and we definitely have learned something about the process and how we go about presenting and how we go about presenting the finances as well for these major projects. So I'm sure you can rest assured that the process will be cleaned up and going forward, everything will be a lot tighter, let's just say. So thanks for council's patience and for council's input on this, and thanks again for Chris and the CAO for all the work you've done on this. It was a major project and have significant changes, not only for staff, but for the entire town. So thanks again. Okay, so we have a motion. I'll read it just so everybody understands what's in front of you. The council authorizes the additional expenditure of $58,770.22 to support the additions to the project scope and associated change orders for the town hall renovation construction project. I need a mover and a second. Moved by Councillor Coutu, seconded by Councillor Driscoll. Do I need to read it again? I'll call for the vote. All in favor? It's carried. Okay, next. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Next, we have legislative services monthly activity report. Colin.
Thank you, Mayor Service. Through you to council. Before you is the Legislative Services Monthly Report for the month of August. And the recommendation is that council receives the Legislative Services Report as information. I'll just highlight a few sections within the report for council's awareness. Under animal control, we had 4 complaints of excessive dog barking in the month. We had 1 verbal warning issued to a dog owner for walking their dog off a leash near Fish Hatchery Park. And we had 1 deceased cat which was reported on Gilda Street and retrieved by animal control and delivered to the OSPCA. Under garbage, we had issued 3 warnings for properties on Sack Road and Chad Street for waste causing nuisance and improperly being placed on the roadside during pickup. For council's awareness, we currently have Bell Canada out and about in the community doing the transient trading license, which was approved from August 25th until September the 27th. Under HR, there's a number of meetings that Jody attended this past month, and under recruitment, I will notify council that we had, as they're already aware, since we had last reported that the treasurer position was, we thought, secured. Unfortunately, that's not the case, and that posting has gone back out, and it closes on September the 27th, this Friday. We also have the postings out, and they close for the IT position and our public works administrator as a result of Dawn being promoted to clerk. In respect to the IT and cloud administrator position, I can report to council that a new position offer has been offered to an individual, and he's accepted this week, and their start date is October the 6th of October. So happy to report that. One check mark off the list. Under Commissioner Bowles, we had 21 requests for the month of August. We had 4 licenses that were issued in August. And then again, as usual, you'll see a large list of activities between myself, Kate, and Dawn that we attended various meetings over the last month. And those are all highlighted there, and happy to answer any questions through council have any on the meetings that we attended. Thank you.
There were no chicken complaints?
No, well, there was 1 complaint this morning, which I believe council was aware of in regards to chicken bylaw that was passed around.
Oh?
Yeah, you should have been CC'd on it, I believe. You all got it, yeah.
Okay, I'll open it up for questions from council. No questions, Colin. Okay, if everybody's comfortable, I need a motion to accept the report. Moved by Councillor Root, seconded by Councillor Carmody, that the Legislative Services Monthly Activity Report be accepted as information. I'll call for the vote. All in favor? It's carried. Nothing for general matters, nothing for closed. I need a motion to adjourn. Moved by Councillor Coutu, seconded by Deputy Mayor Sabrin, enthusiastically, that the meeting be adjourned at the call of the mayor. I'll call for the vote. All in favor? It's carried. Thanks, everyone.